Hey, my name is Kenneth Egelkrout, and today I'd like to compare ancient Egyptian mathematics to ancient Chinese mathematics. And the way that I want to compare these two systems is I want to look at how these two systems performed algebra. And I guess more specifically, I want to see how these two systems went about solving proportion problems. And so to do that, I'd like to first focus in on ancient Egypt. And so to continue this, I'd like to look at problem number 72 of the Rhine Mathematical Papyrus, which can be found on page 26 of our book. And so in that problem, it states that 100 loaves of pea soup 10 are exchanged for loaves of pea soup 45. And how many loaves are there? So first you want to find the excess of 45 over 10, which is going to be 35. And then you want to divide that number by 10 to get 3.5, and then multiply that number by 100 in order to yield yourself 350. Now once you have 350, you're simply just going to add 100 to that number, and you will yield 450, which is going to be our final answer to this problem, 450 loaves. And what this problem illustrates is that even though Egyptian math did not have a specified formula to solve proportions, they were still able to go about doing that. And now I'd like to focus on how the Chinese went about solving similar problems. And they did this through what we now know as the rule of 3. And so the rule of 3 simply states, given A over B is equal to C over D, and you know what A, B, and C are numerically, and you want to solve for the fourth term D, you can simply just multiply B by C and then divide that product by A in order to obtain the correct value D. And this can be illustrated right here through this equation. D is equal to B times C over A. And now to see this equation in practice, we're going to solve problem number 3 from chapter 3 in 9 chapters, which can be found on page 134 of our book. So in that problem, it says 3 people who have 560, 350, and 180 coins respectively. They're required to pay a total tax of 100 coins in proportion to their wealth. How much does each person pay? So step 1 is going to be just adding all these coins together. And once you do that, you're going to end up with 1,090. And now, once you have that 1,090, you're going to want to set the ratio between the amount of coins each person possesses and the total amount of coins, and set that equal to the ratio between the amount each individual is expected to pay, X, and the amount of tax that's expected to be paid in total. And so this can be illustrated through this equation right here. So individuals' coins over the total amount of coins is equal to X amount of tax to be paid by each individual over 100 coins. And so now you're just going to want to solve for each individual. And so when you do that, for the first individual, you're going to have 560 over 1,090, and then you're going to set that equal to X over 100, and then you're simply going to multiply that 100 over, and then divide by 1,090. Set that equal to X, and then once you solve, you'll find out that equals 51.37, which for all intents and purposes is going to be equal to about 51 coins. And then we want to go ahead and just solve this for the remaining individuals. So like we did in the last problem, we're going to have 350 over 1090, and so that equal to X over 100, and then just 100 times 350 over 1090, and then we're going to set that equal to X, and then now X is going to equal 32.11, which essentially equal 32 coins total. And then for the last one, we're going to do the same thing. So 180 over 1090, and then set that equal to X over 100. Now just 100 times 180 over 1090. Set that equal to X. Now just when we solve for X, it's going to be equal to 16.51 approximately. So we're just going to round that up to 17 coins so that the math checks out. And when we add all these numbers up, so 51 plus 32 plus 17, we're going to find out that the resulting number is going to be 100, which is what we were looking for, a total of 100 coins paid. Now, just to kind of illustrate how the rule of 3 is a little bit more simple, simplified compared to the Egyptian method in terms of clarity. We want to look back to problem number 72 of the Rhine Mathematical Papyrus. So if you remember, 100 loaves of pea soup 10 are exchanged for loaves of pea soup 45. How many loaves are there? And now, so just using the rule of 3, all we have to do is just rearrange this problem in the form of A over B is equal to C over D. And so when we do that, we'll get 10 over 100 is equal to 45 over X. And now, through this rule of 3, once we rearrange the problem, we can simply just solve for X. And so we're going to get 45 times our 100 and then we're just going to be dividing that by 10. And once we do that, we're going to end up with the same 450 that we got using the Egyptian method. I feel that this really illustrates that the Chinese mathematical method was much more straightforward than the Egyptian method. Because even though Egyptians did not have a specified formula and that they were able to solve proportions, it seemed a little bit more difficult to follow their methodology. And it wasn't as straightforward as the Chinese method. Whereas the Chinese method has a specified formula and it can be used for solving just general problems that involve proportions. And so personally, I feel that the Chinese method was much easier to follow, especially because it relates to how many middle school students today can solve proportion problems. Yeah, that's my comparison between Chinese mathematics and ancient Egyptian mathematics. Thank you for your time.